In September of 1978, a 15-year-old girl was left for dead in a remote canyon in California. The man responsible believed two things with complete certainty. First, that she would not survive the night. Second, that even if she somehow did, she would never be able to identify him. He was wrong about both. Her name is Mary Vincent. But what makes this story disturbing is not just what happened in that canyon. It is what happened afterward. Because the most unbelievable part of this case is not the attack. It is what she did next. Mary was 15 years old when she decided to hitchhike from Las Vegas to Northern California to visit her grandfather. In the late 1970s, hitchhiking was dangerous but common. Drivers often picked up strangers without much hesitation. After hours of waiting, a man in his 50s stopped. His name was Lawrence Singleton. He appeared calm and ordinary. Nothing about him stood out as threatening. That normal appearance would later become important. For the first several hours, the drive felt uneventful. They talked casually. The road stretched endlessly ahead. Mary had no reason yet to panic. But there was one small decision Singleton made that would change everything. As night approached, he turned off the main highway. At first, Mary assumed it was a shortcut. But the road became darker. Then emptier. Then isolated. There were no nearby homes, no traffic, and no visible lights in the distance. When she asked him about it, he reassured her. His tone did not change. He did not raise his voice. He remained calm. And that calmness was the most dangerous part. Eventually, he stopped the car near Del Puerto Canyon. What happened next is documented in court records. Singleton assaulted her in that remote location. Mary fought back, but there was no one to hear her. Then Singleton made a decision that he believed would protect him. He was not going to leave a witness. He attacked her again and left her in a drainage culvert beneath a bridge in the canyon. It was dark. Cold. Silent. He believed no one would find her in time. He drove away convinced the story was over. But the story was just beginning. At some point during the night, Mary regained consciousness. She was alone in a concrete culvert at the bottom of a steep embankment. She was severely injured and in shock. The nearest road was far above her. There was no phone. No passing cars. No lights. And there was one more problem. Even if she managed to reach the road, she would still need someone to stop. Most people would not have survived the first hour. Mary made a decision that investigators later said defied medical expectations. She decided she was leaving that canyon. Using the narrow walls of the culvert, she pressed her back against one side and her feet against the other. Slowly, inch by inch, she began climbing upward. The climb was unstable. She slipped repeatedly. She nearly blacked out several times. And this is where the story takes its first impossible turn. After hours of climbing, just before sunrise, Mary reached the top. But she was not safe yet. She was now standing beside a rural stretch of road with almost no traffic. She began walking and attempting to signal cars. Several vehicles passed without stopping. Each passing car reduced her chances of survival. Then finally, one driver slowed down. He later said he initially thought he was witnessing something unreal. But he stopped. And that decision saved her life. She was rushed to a hospital, where doctors were stunned she had survived. Some medical staff later stated that her ability to remain conscious long enough to climb out likely made the difference between life and death. But survival was only half the battle. Investigators questioned her while she was recovering. Despite the trauma, she provided clear details. She described Singleton's appearance, his vehicle, and the route they had taken. And here is something many people do not realize. If she had been unable to provide those details, there is a strong possibility he would never have been caught. Police located Lawrence Singleton shortly afterward. Evidence inside his vehicle linked him directly to the crime. He was arrested and charged with kidnapping, assault, and attempted murder. The trial drew attention. Mary testified in court. She faced the man who believed she would never survive long enough to identify him. And she identified him. The jury convicted Singleton. He received a 14-year sentence, which at the time was the maximum allowed under California law. But this is where the story takes another disturbing turn. Due to sentencing regulations at the time, Singleton would serve only 8 years before being released. When he was released in 1987, there was national outrage. Many believed justice had not been served. And here is the part that makes this case even more unsettling. Years after his release, in 1997, Singleton committed another murder in Florida. This time he was convicted and sentenced to death. He died in prison in 2001. But this story is not about him. It is about a decision made in a dark canyon in 1978. Mary Vincent survived something that was meant to end her life. She rebuilt it. She refused to let that night define her future. The man who believed she would never speak again was wrong. And the reason he was wrong was not luck. It was will. Because in the darkest moment, when giving up would have been easy, she chose to keep going. Her name is Mary Vincent. And she lived. If you found this story meaningful, consider subscribing for more real cases. Thank you for watching.